Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your service. Ignore that for the time being. This will come into play later. Hiya, how you all doing? Right, now, cast your minds back to the dim and distant past when Kilt-Man did film reviews. Instead of just acting like a drunken fool in pubs and clubs and going on about his 50th and the endless celebrations and his amazing capacity for holding whiskey in his veins. Forget all that. Not a drop of whiskey and fire water has passed these lips in over 24 hours. No, that's not entirely true. I was out till probably, it's almost 24 hours. There you go. But anyway, I've done well. Now, we're going to talk about a film which is very dear to my heart. A film going back to 1977. A film which was influenced and spawned by the blockbuster and the idea of a monster terrorising a small community which must band together to defeat it. That blockbuster was, of course, Steven Spielberg's Jaws. And Jaws set the template. And you got a lot of, we want Jaws on land, so you got Grizzly. We want Jaws this, Jaws that. So you had Piranha. You had loads of things where a monster would terrorise a small community. So a script was cobbled together and it was called, now get on this, it was called Wheels. And the idea was that Satan himself was driving this satanic black sedan around the desert enclave of Santa Ynez in Utah, picking off Catholics, wherever it found them. And you actually, in that screenplay, had it been filmed that way, you would have seen the devil get out of the car and eat chili at a diner, and you'd see his horrible wrinkled nails and talons and crusty barnacled knuckles and all that, and it was kind of like a bit too on the nose. So when director Elliot Silverstein, who'd done Cat Ballou, A Man Called Horse, with Richard Harris playing the Englishman adopted by the Sioux Nation, so he knew a thing about outdoor movies and a sort of like a rugged sort of atmosphere, which was perfect for this material. So when he got hold of the script, and the producers got hold of the script, they thought, this is a bit too obvious. It's catching the shared tales of The Exorcist and another film called Race with the Devil, which there's a few similarities and symmetry going on between this film and that film, which I'll come on to later. But as well as Jaws in the 70s, you had The Exorcist and The Omen. The occult was huge, the devil was huge. So this is why the original writers, whose names I've forgotten, they had the devil driving this car. Now, following on from Spielberg's own Duel, which had Dennis Weaver being terrorised by this horrible, monstrous truck, which of course formed the basis of his interpretation of Jaws itself. And I'll turn that down. This is the soundtrack to The Car, by the way, which I'll come on to at length as well, because it's a fabulous score. So they thought, well, okay, look, we've got the idea of a demonic car, terrorising this unsuspecting neighbourhood in the middle of nowhere, this isolated, cut-off community, and it's going to pick people off at random. Great, but do we have to see a driver? Do we have to see the devil? And in a masterstroke, which the original two writers still to this day do not like, they removed the devil aspect from it and just kept the car as being this demonic presence. And it's best viewing this car as just a demon. A jobbing demon has taken that car, modified it, customised it, and is going on his own little deadly rampage, doing what demons do. And the car in question is a customised Ford Continental Coupe Mark III, which has been massively, I think it's called Mike Barris, customised it. He lowered the roof on it, he gave it Formula 1 extra wide tyres, he put massive huge bumpers front and back, he removed the door handles, he tinted the window so you couldn't see into it, and he gave it one hell of a differential so it could spin round like a wildcat, literally on a dime. And the stunt driver driving it could do amazing, almost, balletic stuff with this monstrous vehicle. Horrible black with a grille like a face on the front of it. Oh man, it is a truly spectacular vehicle of pure road rage, literally road rage. And it comes out of nowhere and it attacks this little town, this sleepy little desert hamlet of Santa Ynez, run by grizzled old veteran John Marley playing Sheriff Emmett and his deputy sheriff, the great James Brolin. James Brolin, father of Josh Brolin. And of course, not only that, he's a dead ringer for Christian Bale. To the point where I would actually be asking Christian Bale's mum if she knew James Brolin a little bit, because the two of them are absolute dead ringers for each other. James Brolin would also, the same year, this was his feature film debut, was in The Car, 1977, directed by Elliot Silverstein. The same year he would make Capricorn 1, the great film about the bogus Mars mission, and they get picked up, NASA's own assassins go after them, and it's just fucking awesome movie. And then of course he'd make the Amityville Horror and the great urban thriller Night of the Juggler, and James Brolin would become a household name. He was in some big TV soap as well, which I've forgotten. Was it Dynasty? Falcon's Crest? Something like that anyway. I never used to watch them. But and he plays the deputy sheriff called Wade Parent, his name is. And he's not got, his wife must be divorced from him. He's now dating the school teacher played by Kathleen Lloyd, who is spectacularly lovely. And he's got two little daughters, one of whom is Kim Richards, who only a year before is the little girl who goes up to the ice cream van in John Carpenter's Assault on Precinct 13. Hey, this is regular vanilla. I ordered pistachio. And the killer turns around and puts the Luger on, the Mauser, and shoots her in the chest, and down she goes in one of the 70s cinema's most horrible shock moments of imagery. But she's in this, and she's in jeopardy in this film too, because the car, stakes a claim on this little town. It picks off these lovely couple of cyclists who are at the start of the movie riding through the mountains. It drives them off the road, sends them catapulting off bridges, hitting the rocks and splattering. It then picks off other people. There's a hitchhiker who's outside the village, the town bully, played by the great R.G. Armstrong. R.G. Armstrong is a fabulous character actor. He's also in real life a fabulous faith healer. Yeah, the laying on of hands and all that. And he's very devout when it comes to that. And yet, in many, many movies, he would portray a grizzled, bully boy racist, a complete horrible piece of work. And in this, he's a bully boy racist wife beater. And called Amos. And only a couple of years before, he was in the film Race with the Devil, which I mentioned before, which had Warren Oates and Peter Fonda and their girlfriends on a camper trip around America, and they stumble onto a demonic ritual taking place, and they see a ritual murder. So the rest of the film becomes them being pursued by these occult members in a fabulous cross-country chase with some great stunt work and chase sequences. And R.G. Armstrong plays someone who maybe you can't trust as much as you think you can. But enough about that for the time being, because I'll come on to Race with the Devil again and the huge amount of similarities it has with the car. But in this, he plays Amos, this wife-beaten bastard, and there's a hitchhiker outside their house played by Richard Rubinstein, who was a film composer and actor, in his own right, and he's playing the French horn outside. Part of the William Tell pastoral he's playing, and he witnesses the beating of this woman, the wife, when Amos comes out. And he's going, "What the hell are you doing here outside my goddamn house? That's you making all that noise, waking me up," and making him batter his bloody wife like. So, you get that fucking French horn out of my face, or I'll shove it so far up your ass you'll be farting music. And anyway, this hitchhiker becomes the next victim of the car, which Amos sees, and the car drives over him, reverses over him, goes over him again and again. And it's horrific. So, of course, you get this, the interplay between the townsfolk. Wade Parent and his relationship with the school teacher, which is all romantic and lovely, but will the girls like me? Will they ever take me in as their new mother and all this sort of stuff? John Marley plays Emmett, the sheriff, the old sheriff. Now, in a great moment, you have them at the police station where Martha, who is the wife of Amos, who's been beaten up, and Emmett's trying to get her to make a formal complaint about this wife beating that's taking place, and she won't do it. You know, as many of these victims of domestic violence never seem to actually, want to take it any further, because they still think, oh no, maybe things will change. Nah, so she doesn't make any complaints. And Emmett then says to Wade, James Brolin, Wade, she was the first, because the two of them used to be lovers. And it's a really touching moment. He said, that makes me sick when I see what he does to her. If only we could have that time over again. I could get her out of this. And then, of course, Emmett gets killed. The fucking car takes out the sheriff. And you're like, no! Because he seems to be the guy that really could make things move. It was almost like he was the main star of the film. And James Brolin was just like a side character, a supporting member. In the wake of Emmett's death, obviously, Wade has to step in and become the new sheriff in town. They set up roadblocks, they take in witness testimony. In a great moment, you've got Navajo Indians in there as well, some of whom are the deputies on this police force. And they bring in one of the old native Indian women, and Chaz translates about what she saw of them in the car killed Emmett, the sheriff. And you get told afterwards by another Native American who's working the air, she's a telephonist in the police station, and she says to him, Wade, Chaz didn't translate everything the old woman said. He goes, oh, what else? What did he leave out? She said the car had no driver. And all of a sudden you're getting this whole demonic aspect. More and more evidence racks up that this car is not just some random, road rage bastard who's out there. This is definitely beyond the realms of normal vehicular, misdemeanors. You also got the great Ronnie Cox from Deliverance, from RoboCop, from Beverly Hills Cop, and from Total Recall. Quite often played sarcastic, acerbic villains, but he also had a good line in playing vulnerable protagonists. And in this, he's a recovering alcoholic. But it's like, I guess I picked the wrong time to stop drinking, because everyone's getting killed around him. And he goes back to the bottle. And he will be incriminated in, like Jaws, you have the Friday, 4th of July, sorry, it was the Friday the 13th. The 4th of July sort of celebrations in Jaws. Well, in this, there's a school parade, a march, and a rodeo are going to take place. So the kids are all out in their band, and they found the bodies of the two cyclists. They know about the hitchhiker. Emmett's being killed as well. This whole thing's mounting up now. And Wade, look, I don't think it's a good idea to have that parade today. Do it later in the afternoon, when we can all get out there and look after them. In fact, cancel it altogether. He tells Luke, Ronnie Cox, to relay the message to the school. But of course, Luke hits the bottle, forgets. So the parade goes ahead. A fucking car comes out of nowhere and attacks them. Oh God, in a really tremendous bravura sequence. The car, you see it behind the grandstand, because obviously there's a sort of racetrack where rodeos and horse racing take place, and then all these kids and their marching band are all there. Wade's girlfriend, the school teacher, is in charge of all this. Luke's missus is also a school teacher, so she's there. And you just see in the background, they've got one deputy who's kind of looking out for them. And way off in the distance, you see sunlight glinting on the chrome of this car. So you see it and no one else has seen it. And you see it again as it's getting nearer. And all of a sudden, this sort of satanic, devilish wind whips up and begins to cause havoc. So, they realise, and then you see the car, the top of this flattened roof, it's a squat little, it's almost like a huge beetle, this car, a huge fucking monstrous beetle, flattened down. And you see it, the roof of it, behind all the grandstands, and it's almost like the shark fin of Jaws coming closer. And this fucking car leaps into the midst of all these kids, spins around like that. It's playing with them, it's taunting them. The kids and the rodeo riders try to divert the car, distract it, and it sends them all sprawling, so his body's going everywhere. And the kids and the teachers all run into an old cemetery, and the car can't go in because it's hallowed ground. So it's outside the gates, growling at them, spinning around like some kind of crazed pit bull, tormenting them. And Wade's girlfriend, Kathleen Lloyd, the school teacher, she taunts it. Come on, get out of there. I want to see what you're really like. Come on, behind the wheel of your car. You think you're so hard. Come on, you show me what you got. She starts chucking branches at it, and she cusses him out good style. In the meantime, the other girl, I think Marge, has got to the police car, and she's the deputy's car, got the radio, and called in the cavalry. So all the deputies come zooming in. It's a great sequence. Deputies are coming from left, all the roadblocks are called in, like, and Wade gets on his motorbike, and he's roaring down the highway. He's on the fucking assault. So the car seems to know, fucking speeds off, like. So Ray, an old deputy, is sitting there on the bonnet of his car with a shotgun, and they're going like, Ray, if you see it, take him out, just take him out. So Ray, it's coming towards me. The car stops, he fires a couple of shots at it. Shit, I missed. He hasn't missed, because the fucking car just will not be damaged. The car spins around, goes off. Ray, go after him. The car goes up a fucking mountain. Ray chases up after it. I got him, guys, come on now, woohoo! And he's like, there's no way down but straight down. And as he turns the bend, the car comes right at him. Whoa! And it pushes him towards the edge. And the car does this horrible taunting thing of victory. It hasn't got a voice, but it's got this amazing blaring satanic horn which goes as it pushes poor Ray off the cliff, tumbles down, boom. In the next classic scene, right after this, one of my favourite moments in 70s cinema is this moment. You've got two police cruisers bombing up the road, the car's coming towards them, and there's two guys in each car, and they're going like, Jesus, Mother of God, Magruder, look! As this car's flying towards him down the hillside. Look, he can't take us both. He's gonna have to pull off the road, and then we got him. And then in one of the great stunts, pre-Mad Max stunts, they've got a telegraph pole in the back of this car, which an explosive charge hits the deck as the driver spins the car, and it does a cannon roll, which becomes a barrel roll. And this fucking car spins right over the top of these two police cruisers, crushing the guys inside. The two cars veered off, kaboom, kaboom, and then the car just goes ba 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 ba, and hurtles down the highway right into the path of Wade. James Brolin's there with his gun, gets off his bike, fucking like that, blam, tyres, blam, other tyre, nothing's happened, blam, windscreen, nothing, fuck, eerie silence. If you listen to this bit of music now, this is that bit with the where it takes out the two police cars. Score by Leonard Rosenman. Did a lot of scores in the 70s. We'll talk about it in a minute. We got him! Come on! See you tired and die! It's just, you're like that, your jaw's on the floor, you're like, shit! Cracking stunt. Get all excited. And this bit's where Wade comes riding up on his bike and stops him. But the car doesn't move. His bullets have had no effect. No scratches on the car. He hasn't put the tyres down. So he goes up to the driver's side, and it's like that. And he reaches that. There's no handle on the door. It's like, shit. The window begins to slide down, and he can't quite see in. The door pops open, and he's about to open it, and then the door flies into him, knocks him sprawling into the desert, whereupon, kind of weirdly, he passes out and then wakes up in the hospital. And in a great sequence, they realise how many people they've just lost. They've lost another 5 deputies, plus the rodeo guys have been killed. This car is raking fucking havoc all over the place, all over the joint. You've got Luke, who's there, and obviously Wade realises, Luke, come in here. Why that parade go ahead? I told you to tell him to cancel it. Why did you? Well, because everyone's dying. It's all too much. I just can't. Is it what I think it is? Yeah, I'm sorry. Wait, and it's a lovely character moment. This is a B movie. This is literally a drive-in movie, and it gets a lot of bad press from some people, and yet it's gone on to get a cult status. I saw it first on TV, and I was massively impressed. Really, really hugely, got inside my head. And then every time it got repeated, this is pre-video recorder days, I'd watch it again on TV again. And then finally I got to record it and I watched it again on VHS and Betamax. Then I got it on DVD and now I've got it on Blu-ray. And I fucking love it. And I've got the soundtrack. Woohoo, there it is. And so Luke realises it couldn't go on hallowed ground. The kids, they were hiding in the cemetery. It couldn't go on hallowed ground. Wait, it's not real. It's a demon. No, come on now, this is ridiculous. Chaz, the Navajo Indian, takes Kathleen Lloyd, the school teacher, Wade's missus, or soon to be missus, takes her home. And in another shocking sequence, because he drops her off outside the house, a bit of paper blows out of her hand, she goes in the street to get it. You've seen, as you drove past, out of the bushes at the side of the road, the car just nudging out quietly, because it's there, lying in wait. That devilish wind strikes up again. She legs it into the house. She picks up the phone. She phones Wade on his hospital bed. Wade, I think I can hear that car's engines. And in the background, out of her window, down the street, you can see the headlights. These two eyes coming towards her. And then she goes, ah, what do I? The car leaps up off the ground, goes through the fucking house, and then just drives off down the road again. It's totaled her. You can imagine, she's just strawberry jam. So next they realise, obviously Wade's in a bad state and all that, and it is like Psycho. You've just lost the heroine of the film, and they realise everyone else was killed on the streets. Why was she killed in the house? Laurie was killed in the house because she cussed him out. She challenged him. He didn't like that. She was marked out as something special, so he kills her in her own home. Now, the last group of deputies, because they've all been fucking wasted, and a few townsfolk become a huge posse, and they realise, look, we're going to have to lure this bastard out, and we need Amos, R.G. Armstrong, the wife-beating bully, because he's got all dynamite. He's a whatever he does, whatever job he does requires dynamite. So they're going to have this plan to trap the car out in a ravine and just drop a mountain on it, basically. So this is what they do. But in a great classic scene where they're all getting ready, Wade goes into his garage, the kids are being looked after, he goes into the garage and just to go and get something, and as you see him walk through, the car's there, the fucking car's behind him. Sometimes you don't see it at first, it's only when it goes back again, and the car, he just turns up, and there's the car. How did it get in? Because it's a sealed fucking thing. The actual hatch, the front gate of it is locked. There's very little doorways. The car magically got in there, and it begins to taunt him. Each time he tries to move, it'll roar towards him and then stop. In the end, he manages to smash his way through a window, gets on his bike, and it's a great chase where the car is literally... The stunt driving in this is really top-notch stuff. And a lot of it isn't showboated. It's not like the editing is going to build you up to this amazing stunt where it's swerving all over the place. It's just, the camera is just there, and the stunt car driver and the stunt motorbike rider are just literally missing each other by millimetres. It's incredible. So he lures the car out of the desert. The car seems to know, hang on a minute, this could be a trap, and then goes off to go and get the guys who were setting the trap for it. Amos is going, put all the dynamite there. How many charges have you got? Wade loses his bike and has to climb up a mountain. They put a rope down. The car goes for him. It starts chiseling away at the base of the mountain. So the cliff's giving way. Then it realises, they're up there. Wade gets up to the top, and him and Luke stand there as bait on the cliff edge. And they're going, waving to him. And then finally, as the car comes hurtling towards him, the two dive either side. Car goes woof right off the edge, going down, and one of those great cinematic climaxes. James Brolin goes, "Hit it!" meaning the plunger. Hit it! Hit the damn thing! As he dives like that, fucking boom, kaboomy, and that massive explosion. And in the explosion, you see a demonic face in the flames, and they're all like that, and it roars at them, this demon's face. Ah, man. And then the dust settles, the mountainsides collapsed on it, and all these survivors get up there and they walk to the cliff edge and look down as the sunrise is coming up, and a beautiful new day. And like, Luke's going, did you see it? Did you see its face? And like, Wade's going, it's gone, Luke, just forget it, it's gone. We did it, we killed him. They're refusing to believe what this was. And so ends the car. But during the end credits, the car it's definitely another car, if not the same car, driving down a highway, and the music builds up again. And you know, it's not over. You can't kill the car. You know, there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. You can't stop the car. This demonic bastard. And the film benefits from this incredible score by Leonard Rosenman. Now, Rosenman did the score for a couple of Planet of the Apes movies. He also did Ralph Bakshi's animated Lord of the Rings in the 70s. And he also did Race with the Devil, the film I mentioned before. And he also did as well the film Prophecy about the huge mutant monster bear. Not a good film. That's the film where someone in a sleeping bag gets hit by the bear's paw, and they explode in feathers. They literally explode. You know, like that Viet Cong officer that Rambo hits with the explosive arrow tipped, explosive tipped arrow, and this guy goes poof. The bear hits someone in a sleeping bag who's trying to hop away, and they explode. But the score by Leonard Rosenman is outstanding. Now, if you listen to his music here, it's very agitated, it's very blaring. He does a lot of tonal pyramids, which are full of dissonance, full of, horrible blaring trumpets, brass, percussion, anvils and metallic chimes, and it really is to set your nerves on edge. But he starts off with the fabulous Gregorian chant, the Dies Irae, which is a medieval chant, a mass, and it's been used in lots of movies. Most famously, I would say, would be the opening music by, was it Wendy Carlos for The Shining, which is probably the best rendition I've ever heard of the Dies Irae, but it's here. Very satanic, very dark, very somber, very, very eerie. And speaking of eerie, Elliot Silverstein, the director, does a couple of really beautiful shots in this. There's a strange sort of a desert tableau of these huge mountains, which look like huge termite mounds, but they're not. They're huge mountains, and the way they've eroded. And the camera sort of begins to zoom in across this huge plateau, this valley between these mountain ranges, and you just see the car just prowling around, just driving through the desert, doing its own thing, and it's just like, it's such a surreal image. Now, people can go like, oh, the car, it's just, the car's not scary. The car is downright terrifying. The way it moves, the way it growls, the way it sounds, the way it has a character of its own. During one of the chases where all the deputies are zooming in, when it's making getaway from the big parade, the big march, and it's driving down a highway, and the music's building up, and like Wade's going, Magruder, so-and-so, Davison, where are you? We're heading in, we're coming in, we'll find him. And they're all zooming in, closing in on this, this car. And the car's just going down a highway, and it's just, there's another car coming in the direction, just another innocent car, and it just goes, and it veers off, and almost fucking hits this thing, just showing a pure vindictive, opportunist bastard, nature. Just like, whoa, I'm having you. And this fucking car spins off the road, and like, it just took out someone who's not connected with any of this. But sorry, I get very animated about these things, very, very animated indeed. I love this movie. It's on a blisteringly good Blu-ray at the moment. Arrow in the UK released it. A few extras in it, Poor Elliot Silverstein, who directed it, can't remember much about the movie at all now. He's a much older guy, and you really can't remember what the hell he did. But he did a bloody good job. He builds suspense superbly. The cinematography is gorgeous. Instead of having a lot of nighttime, eerie scenes, of which there are some, a lot of it's shot in broad, dazzling sunlight, big, brash, broad daylight, and the car is wreaking havoc. And the way this car moves around, and the way it hugs the floor and goes after people, it is just, folks, the car. I love it to bits, love it. And I love James Brolin as well. And you know, I've not given him enough justice in this review because he anchors the film as well. When you first think it's John Marley, the older sheriff, who's going to be the one ruling the roost, once he's gone, you know, Wade Parent, James Brolin steps in, and you really feel for him. Now, like Jaws, and I'm not putting this in the same league as Jaws, but it's not far off. The ambitions are all there. The characters are great. The dialogue is snappy, and it's kind of believable. When they argue with each other, it's genuinely full of emotion. Now, I said the original writers called it Wheels. Jaws, Wheels. They're not happy with the way it got changed. But the fact that they made it so obviously, you know, Satan fighting Catholics, that was just silly. It was too on the nose. The more random aspect that Elliot Silverstein and the new writers who changed it brought in, it works, it pays dividends, it creates the mystery. You gradually realise, you know, what the hell is behind the wheel of that car. And basically, it's nothing. It's just a spirit. It's a demon. Folks, you're hearing this. Oh, this raucous, horrible music. It just encapsulates this vehicle. It's hell on wheels, basically. Folks, my time is about to cut out, as usual. But yeah, the car. It gets a great big, kills it, thumbs up. The tartan is revved up. So folks, please, take it easy. Mind how you go. Watch out for big black sedans out there that growl and go which really fucking alert you. You know, it's, oh, Jesus, it's nerve-jangling. Great film. Folks, take it easy. Have fun. Stay safe. Keep it cool. Keep it Celtic. Keep it Celtic. Keep it kilted. My own catchphrase. I'm getting it wrong. Maybe I need some whiskey down my neck. Folks, I'll see you all very soon. So, in the meantime, take it easy and I'll see you later.